I originally started with saying I draw one stickman for one follower, not even characters. I just wanted to draw stickman, but then people started commenting, hey, why don't you give me a sword? And then I said, oh wait, that might be actually a good idea. So I gave this guy a sword, and that video instantly took off. I made like 80,000 subscribers on the
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah, the viewers are a huge reason of why I blew off, so.
From the start, this has been about them. If I asked you for the most creative way to kick off a new TikTok account, drawing a stick figure likely wouldn't be at the top of your list. But for today's guest, that's exactly what he did. And it worked. From the humble beginnings of drawing one stick man for each new follower, Carlo has drawn to life a massively popular animated series to the tune of 3.5 million followers worldwide. I'm going to let Carlo tell the story of Stickmanwar himself, but for now, please smash that like button and consider subscribing on YouTube or following on Spotify, only if I earned it. We are so close to 500 subscribers, and I have a good feeling that this episode is the one that's going to get us there. But with all that said, and without further ado, welcome back into the Forever Forward podcast. Carlo, the creator of Stickmanwar, it is an honor and a privilege to have you on. Welcome into Forever Forward.
Thanks for having me, man. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Well, you, I think, of all the guests we've had so far, have maybe the most unique talents and unique story to share. Can you just first, before we even dive in, give a brief overview of what is Stickmanwar?
Actually, many people that I have to explain it to, like, ask me exactly that. So, to put it simply, it's like a video game, but on short-form content platforms, and it's controlled by the viewers. So you have everything a basic video game has. You have a big scary monster and you have an army fighting against it.
Okay, and it's episodic, right? So like there are seasons of this. And what platforms does it exist on?
Right now, I'm on TikTok and YouTube.
And if you could just give the people a sense of the scale of this, how many followers do you have across your platforms?
On TikTok, in like a span of 4 years or 5, I managed to get 2.8 million.
Oh, man.
So crazy to me. I can't realize it up until now myself. And on YouTube, which is like a year old now, I'm on like 400,000.
It's just crazy. Like the state that I'm from here, Connecticut, has just about 3.5 million people in the entire state. So it's almost like every time you upload, you've got an entire state watching your content.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, it is. But maybe we could go back to the start here. So my understanding and from what I've watched, these episodes are driven by your drawings. So could we start with kind of what got you into drawing? What age and what was the genesis of this hobby of yours?
Yeah, so way back when I was really young, I always got told I'm a really creative kid, and everywhere I was, like, I always started drawing. I did really creative stuff back then too. Obviously, it looked really bad and stuff, but I'm just a kid, you know? Yeah, but then you practice and you want to do stuff that looks better, and you see other people that are really good at art. And I always got really motivated by seeing people doing stuff that I wanted to be able to do myself. So I started drawing more, and then I saw like the phase when I saw Star Wars movies for the first time was like a really big factor for me.
Interesting.
Because these characters, I just wanted to visualize them myself. And then I started, like, actually, it looked really similar to these Stickmanwar battles I do right now. I started drawing miniature versions of, like, clone troopers and Jedis with all the lightsabers and stuff. That's something I can really call back to, and something I had in mind when I actually started this.
What's so interesting is when I look at your content and the way that you draw, it has a very unique aesthetic. It almost looks like very curated, highly professional doodles. Did you find that the way you drew when you were a kid, does some of that still come through now in your professional content?
Well, first off, thank you. I don't think they're professional at all.
But I think I and many of your other followers would agree it's quite professional.
But it's like, I agree. It's like a doodle style that I worked on for a really long time. So it looks really polished. I think so myself. Yeah, obviously this, like, my content is not for 19-year-olds like myself. It's mostly watched by an age range from like 10 to 13 maybe, I would say. And I thought, what would people like to see in that age range? So obviously I don't do like over complex, super crazy monsters. So what I do instead is just something simple that I would have liked myself when I would be in that age. So
I see. Well, what's cool also in relation to the characters, and you spoke about this a bit at the beginning, that the audience kind of drives this. So can you talk a little bit about how the audience helps to inspire characters and also move the story forwards?
If it's okay, I would go way back to the beginning because that's actually how it started.
Let's go
Uh,
all the way back.
yes. So you can actually scroll down on my page and see it for yourself. I originally started with saying I draw one stickman for one follower, not even characters. I just wanted to draw stickman. But then people started commenting, "Hey, why don't you give me a sword?" And then I said,
Okay.
"Oh wait, that might be actually a good idea." So I gave this guy a sword, and that video instantly took off. It got so many views. I made like 80,000 subscribers on the
Oh
first
my
day.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah, and I just kept on drawing these ideas. And at first, they all wanted just basic stuff like a pistol, and I was like, "But I don't want to give them like overpowered stuff." But then people wanted to be Iron Man and more bigger IPs. They wanted stuff from Marvel movies or Star Wars characters that they saw themselves. So yeah, they really driven this content of mine. And it's like the viewers are a huge reason of why I blew off so good, you know?
Well, it's amazing that from the start, this has been about them. Like, this has
Yeah.
always been about the viewers. That's pretty cool. So as far as how you went from making just stick figures to coming up with this whole grand lore of stickmanwar, where did that idea first come to you?
When it comes to the lore, I thought, I think I need to change my content a bit. The idea to do the same thing over and over again kind of got a little bit lame in my head.
Okay.
And then TikTok introduced the thing where they said, please upload minimum 1-minute videos to get monetized. And I said, now I need to make longer videos.
Okay.
And that's the point where I did a little change in my content production and switched from doing it entirely in the TikTok app to cutting on my PC, do it a little bit more professionally, and to fill the minute up better. I said, I actually need a story now. So that's when it started to like really become like a real series.
It has evolved and become actually very nuanced over, frankly, the years. Are you able to keep track of the lore at this point, or has it kind of run its course on you?
I'm under control. It hasn't overrun me yet.
And do you typically, as far as how you drive that story forwards, do you go off of comments and people say, hey, I want to see this happen or that happen, or is it a blend of your idea and then also the viewers?
It's a blend, and I have an example ready for that. Mostly, the only thing I do is I design the bosses, the big evil creatures. And for the first time when I did the lore thing, I made a sand monster, but I planned from the beginning on that under the sand there would be a snake that controlled the sand. That was just my plain idea, because most bosses in video games have like a second phase. So,
you know what it reminds me of? Legend of Zelda. I don't know why, but that's what it reminds me of.
Basically, so many video games have that concept that a boss, and you think you have defeated him, and then he gets just like a little bit stronger, and then you need to do it all over again.
Yes.
So that's what I did most of the time. And then I wanted to be really different and said, okay, this sand monster has a snake under it. And I didn't know how that change would happen. But at some point I saw like a guy that commented, I want to be like a giant vacuum cleaner. Yeah. And then, wait, that's like actually such a good idea. And then I made it so the vacuum cleaner basically sucked all of the sand into it, and then the snake would reveal itself.
Dude, this is so awesome because you know what? It feels like very fun at heart. Like this is all for the fun of it.
Yeah.
And people get such a kick out of your stuff. Moving maybe from stickmanwar specifically to just the art of storytelling. Like, why do you think it's important to tell stories? What do you think is so great about fiction and these worlds that we build? And I have some personal experience here. My favorite game ever is Skyrim on the Xbox. I played that game for hundreds of hours, and I used to just be able to get lost in there. And sometimes I felt almost more comfortable in Skyrim than I felt in the real world. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that as far as the importance of these worlds.
Yeah, I mean, to the Skyrim thing, I actually never played it, but I had that same experience in so many other games.
Yeah.
That's something so many people can relate to. And not just games, it's everything in fiction to be exact. Everyone can relate to some characters in some series they have watched or movies. As far as the storytelling point, I think storytelling is such an important thing in this world, and I think it's truly there to inspire people, because I wouldn't be who I am right now if I didn't watch everything I've watched until this point.
Right.
Every creative decision I do insists on something I saw at some point that has to do with fiction and storytelling. You know, if I make a decision, this has to happen now in my story, it's something I've seen before and I felt was like a cool experience. And I want to do that to other people too, especially because I know that I have a younger audience. And just the feeling that my stuff might be cool enough for them that they think, man, I want to do something like that when I'm a little bit older too. I think that's the main motivation factor for me.
First of all, if it's cool enough for me, it's cool enough for them because I'm pretty cool. But I will say, man, the aspect of imagination, I think, is slowly being lost on us as we expand more and more into this digital age. But you are bringing back this notion of imagination in a way that a lot of other creators aren't. So I think on behalf of all your followers, I just want to say thank you because we need more content like this.
Man, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Are there ever times where this stuff comes to you in your head? Like, is it when you're in the shower? Is it when you're on a run? Like, when are you thinking of these crazy grand ideas?
Dude, all the time.
Really?
All the time. I can't switch my mind off. It could be, like you said, anywhere. And I just say, wait, I need to write that down right now.
Yeah.
And that's like not just for stickmanwar. It's so many other ideas too. I actually now to split a little bit into my actually real IRL character. I study art and more in that direction, you know, and I actually also got into a little bit of game design and storytelling too. So that's like a point where I now can even learn about this a little bit more. And then I have more mature ideas as well. Like what games, what grandiose games could be published in the future? What YouTube channels do I want to make? What videos do I want to produce? You know, I have so many ideas at this point that I can't do them.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
Speaking of your quote unquote IRL character, what is your professional background? You said you're studying right now?
Just like since a couple months, I did go or do still go to like a university, but it's more of a preparation. I'm still not officially studying. It's just like to prepare, you know, they help me a little bit to get my portfolio right so I can actually go into these big universities. But as far as professional background goes, I actually taught everything myself by YouTube or something like that. I just watched tutorials. Yeah.
You are fully self-taught.
Yes.
No way, man. And just out of curiosity, what types of programs do you use to put these animations together? Because it has a very unique animation style.
I use multiple things and I switch them like just based off how I'm feeling in that moment. But the big ones are definitely Blender. It's like a really good, especially because it's open source and free. And then the whole Adobe suite. So After Effects, Premiere Pro, Photoshop, that's something I've learned very early. And I think that's something I forgot to mention before. My mother actually is a graphic designer. So I had access to these programs pretty early on. And she could help me like once in a while. But the main drive was all me because I wanted to do things and see things in Photoshop and stuff. I made some movie posters back then that I found funny when I was like 11 or something.
It feels like to me though that you're like so passionate about the visual arts. That must feel good to like know, hey, this is what I want to do.
I mean, it does feel good because I can like say, yeah, I know exactly what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
And then it's wait, but I don't actually know what I'm about to do. This field of doing arts is so big and broad that I say I might become the next Tarantino or filmmaker, or I could make the next Red Dead Redemption 2, or I could make the next big YouTube channel or something.
Totally.
And then it's like, what profession do I want to learn and master? Because at this point, I'm like an amateur in everything, but not really.
I'm not sure I would call you, maybe compared to Tarantino, but like I would say you're fairly advanced. Do you have an idea of like, you know, what you would like to drive your career towards in theory? And a question I would have is, would you ever consider a stickmanwar feature film?
Yes. I actually did a storyline for that already.
Did you really? For a full screenplay?
Not a movie, but a series. Like a 10-episode Netflix thing.
I mean, just based off the audience you have on your socials, that would certainly be popular.
I think so too.
You know, what I love about the visual arts, because I don't work in this field, I do like finance, is when I see characters on screen or like certain other worlds, like sometimes I feel like I can be transported there, or I can just like escape my day for 2 minutes when I see a stickmanwar animation. Like there's something very profound about a well done piece of animation that I feel like can almost be an escape for some of us that are, you know, in our daily lives. You
totally.
know?
I mean, I think that's why so many people watch it too.
Yes.
And I think with my animations, like I do them rarely, but when I do them, people are pretty caught off guard. You know, they say, wait, that was actually good.
I can imagine. And I'm just curious, and I'm sure many of your followers are curious, what is your creative workflow like? Like, where does it start all the way up until upload? What does that look like?
It is really messy.
Okay.
I'm not really an organized person.
Okay.
Sometimes I just sit around and scroll through comments for like 3 hours until I find something that like, oh yeah, I want to draw that right now.
Wow.
And then I just do it. And some other times I say like, okay, now I need to spice this up a little bit, and I need like a specific comment. And because I know I got so many comments that I basically at some point will find what I need.
By the way, it must take you hours to scroll through
Yes.
your comments.
I think that's actually the thing that takes me the most time, and it's the most draining for me as well.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through comments all the time is, I think that's the least fun part, to be honest.
I mean, it's a blessing because you have so many people that watch and care about it, but you also are, you're a creator. I think some creators, not that they don't care about their audience, but you pour so much into yours. And so you have to read those comments, which to give each comment the time it deserves and go through thousands of comments must be a lot.
Yes, it is a lot. And especially because, you know, there's only so many comments of people that say they want to be Godzilla you can take. And you have already drawn Godzilla and they still commented hundreds of times under each video. You know, I appreciate it. I appreciate that I comment, obviously. Without this engagement I get, I wouldn't be where I'm at. That's where my content works. But I'm always like on the search of creative comments, and like not just to be Iron Man. I think gets kind of boring at some point. I still do them. I still draw the Avengers each season. That's like
I did notice that.
Yeah, but if someone comments like a really absurd thing that they obviously came up with themselves, like I want to be a dog with a laser turret, and something like that, I say, oh wait, I'm actually gonna do this. I want to reward them for their creativity.
Is it just markers? Is that all that you use?
I started with like a really cheap ballpoint pen and like some yellowish paper from IKEA or something. I had no lights and a really old phone, and then I filmed it with my shaky hand while drawing with the other hand, and it looks really, really bad, but it's still on my page. You can actually see it if you scroll down.
If you go all the way to the start.
Yes.
Did you see traction immediately, or did it take a few uploads before you started to?
No.
Okay.
First video, boom, done. I actually, it was like with my brother, we chill like in our room. My brother's younger than me, by the way. Mm-hmm. But I just said, hey, you know what? I have an idea for a TikTok channel. And then I just said, okay, look, I will draw a stickman for each follower. And then I did one and I posted a video, and I remember putting like text over it and say, my followers are in danger. This is the only follower. And I followed myself with like a second account. And then I said, we need to defeat this dragon. So follow me so we can grow the army. And that instantly blew off. And then I did like 10 videos in half an hour and did all the comments. And then I just noticed, wait, I can't actually keep up with these comments. I can't draw them all. And then I said to my brother, like, you know what? I'm going to turn off my phone for like 3 hours, and then we're going to look how much it has grown.
How much did it grow?
80,000 followers.
Oh my gosh. So not even was it 80,000 views or likes, 80,000 followers.
Yes. The one of the first 10 videos got like 1 million views, pretty much.
But you know what I think it is? I think it's a testament to like a unique, fun concept. Maybe that's some advice that new creators should take, is like, just try to do something novel and fun.
Yes.
You know,
that's what like the key point is of content creation, is that you should have fun doing it yourself. You should not try to be someone or do something that you think other people like and do it only for that sake. You should actually, if you say, wait, I would like to watch that myself, or I would have fun doing it, do it. Just see how it goes, and there's no risk.
Right. There's absolutely, and especially in 2024, like the world is online. So why not just try? You know, for me, the growth is coming very, very slowly, actually. But what I love about this podcast platform that I've stood up is that, like, I love filming these episodes. Even if I didn't post them, I would still do them.
Yeah. That's actually what I wanted to tell you too. You seem actually really consistent with it, and you seem like a really, really experienced podcast host.
Oh, thank you, man.
I could see this have hundreds of thousands of views per episode. Easily.
Oh my gosh. Look, let me be candid with you and everybody listening. That's my dream. Like, my dream is to do that. At this time, I have a full 9-to-5 job that is not podcasting, but I would love to one day do this for a career. So thank you for saying that, man. I really appreciate that.
No problem. No problem. And I mean it.
Here's a question that I have for you. Does it ever set in the size of your platform? Like, when you post, are you aware of the size of your audience, or is it just sort of something that's in the back of your mind?
It's in the back of my mind, but I can't really imagine it because nothing changed for me really. I don't show my face. Maybe it would be different if I do show my face.
Okay.
Because then I would actually get real life impacts maybe.
Yeah. Right.
I have experienced, like I did when I actually messaged you to be on the podcast. You said you actually knew me.
Of course, I'm following your account.
Yeah. Every time someone says that to me, it's really shocking because then I say, wait, my following is actually pretty big. It's something in my friend groups and something. If I meet someone new, just, around me a little bit, like I didn't meet before, and I tell them about it, or some of my friends tell them about it, and I say, wait, I actually know that guy. I actually have seen the videos of him. That's always really funny to experience.
And is there a reason why you choose to remain anonymous? By the way, first of all, I think it's awesome because you could totally be like trying to be famous and this and that, but it seems like that's not what this is about for you.
No, it's kind of a passion project.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to keep it as well. Because I don't know how to say it, but I kind of want to reserve my face for maybe a channel that I really want to put my whole soul in. It's something that I don't know yet, but if I someday have an idea, I don't want to be known as that stickman guy if I do horror videos.
Oh, yes. Right.
I have to divert that and be a little bit careful with it, but I'm going to get it to work.
It's funny. I was going to ask, do you know what comes next after stickmanwar, or you don't know?
I don't know at all.
Yeah.
I have a couple concepts for YouTube channels. As you heard, like a horror and info channel would be really cool. So
Very
like
cool.
True crime documentaries. I think I'm good at doing like atmosphere and putting that in a video. So I think horror based stuff would be a good suit for me, and I would have fun doing the videos too. But that can go in any direction. I would love to do movie analysis videos too, or series, or just be like a German moist critical.
I do watch his stuff as well. He's quite good. But what I love is that it feels to me like you're just having fun. Like, sometimes on my end, it feels daunting. Like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But for you, it's like, I'll figure it out. It's going to come. You don't seem nervous.
Yes, because that's the strategy that has proven to work for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if at some point, like, the wall will hit me and the reality will strike me or something, because I might have just been really lucky back then to blow up like that because I hit the algorithm or something. I don't know. I'ma just continue how I feel like and show people my stuff, and the most reactions I get are good for the other stuff I do. So I'ma just trust my instincts and do what I think is fun for me and good for me, and I don't try to push myself like to things I don't want to do or something. I don't think that's the right thing to do.
One of the last few questions I had for you is on the comments side of things, on the engagement. Do you find yourself getting any negative engagement on your post, or is it mainly positive?
I rarely get engagement like this. The most comments I get are, I want to be this, I want to be that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really, it's rare that I get feedback like this, but when I get feedback like this, it's really positive. I would say like 99% probably. I've gotten 2 or 3 comments to say that I fell off or something, but that was always when I changed the ways of doing my videos, and nothing changed. The views didn't change, all the counts didn't change, and I don't care.
2 final questions for you. One fun one and one more serious. The fun one is, do you have a favorite stickmanwar character? And if so, what is it?
It would be lame to say it's King Stickman, the one I'm talking as right now.
Yes.
But I think, as for the bosses, because that's the ones I designed,
yes.
I think the snake is one of the coolest ones. But it's not my favorite. My favorite actually is the ghost. It's a little bit older, but I think the design of this ghost is still really cool, and I just like it.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one.
I think I'm familiar with the ghost you're talking about. Now, the snake, is that the one that has the jewel on its forehead?
Yes.
And this all just comes from your mind. You just draft these ideas and write them down.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Because right then I did a little bit of world building, and I said, okay, where do these monsters actually come from? And how do they get their power and something and stuff like this? And so I gave the snake like a stone to create other monsters. And then I said, okay, there's probably other stones and the monsters live in a world where they harvest them
Yeah.
and there's multiple worlds. And then, I just get into like a workflow like this where I imagine this whole world and write everything down and then cut a little bit from it and polish it until it's better. And that's just how I come up with most things, because I don't like to just randomly decide on something without it having a reason and without me being able to do something similar in the future without it having reason either,
Well, what I love is that at surface level, right, it's drawings that are animated, right? It's kind of this funny concept, but like there's serious thought that's gone in behind the scenes here. Like that's the irony that I find kind of powerful about Stickman War is like, it's not just doodles. Like it's actually a lot more than that.
Kind of. I wouldn't say it like this.
Okay.
It's a little bit.
Maybe it is just doodles.
Maybe it is just doodles.
Yeah.
And for some videos it actually is. But when I put thought into it, I'm thinking to myself, sometimes too that I like, okay, bro, this is just a Stickman channel. I need to calm down. I need to calm down before I write the new Game of Thrones here.
Yeah.
Okay? Oh.
All right. So here's my final question for you, and it's a more serious one. If you had one piece of advice to just give to anybody, right, that might be trying to start something new or is well into adulthood or is in their teens, anybody that wants to take an ambitious leap of faith, what advice would you give?
Okay. So if you have any idea or if you want to pursue anything, do it. I can't put more weight on that, but do it. First off, you don't have any risks. There's nothing bad about it. And if people start going at you for that, you just don't need to care, because there might be people that are able to be the next Tarantino, like actually, or be the next big, or even Kubrick or something, like the big filmmakers, the big YouTubers. There might be a Mr. Beast working a 9 to 5 right now and is 35 years old somewhere that says, I don't know if I want to start with YouTube, but he has like actually good ideas. And I would say to that guy, bro, do it right now.
Because you'll never know unless you try.
Yes.
When somebody says that in any realm, it's obviously powerful. But when you say it as somebody who's doing the thing, like it really matters. Well, look, man, I just wanted to thank you again for coming on. I know the time zones, we bounce back and forth. You're overseas. I'm here in the States. But again, I just want to thank you so much. And I know you like to say it's just a Stickman channel, but I think it's bringing smiles to a lot of people. So thanks for all the good you're doing.
Man, thank you. Really, really thank you again for that. I kind of in my heart know it's true.
Yeah.
And I agree. I admit to playing it down a lot of times because I really know how big it is at this point. But I would say I play it down because I didn't really realize it, or it's so off the rails for me. Like it's not real to me at all.
It also feels like it just grew so fast. All of a sudden you were there.
It was really fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, thanks, man. Thanks for the compliments. I really appreciate them.
Of course, my friend. Well, it's my pleasure. And I do have a feeling that my viewers may want a round two. So maybe that might be in the cards for us in the future.